So here's my issue with YouTube, specifically as a filmmaker, is that it is just reality TV. Like, there's no actual narrative filmmaking that I have seen done successfully on YouTube. And I think partially it's due to the culture that we're living in, but and also the audience that's on YouTube, is that it comes from that, America's Funniest Home Videos type vibe. Like that's where it kind of started. And so people are used to silly videos. And I'm not talking about the education. I'm not talking about, the how-tos, the business, the marketing, any of that side of YouTube. What I'm talking about specifically is the entertainment side of YouTube, the vlogging, right? Vlogging is just documentary filmmaking, but it's just done from a POV standpoint rather than an objective individual telling a story about somebody else. Now, you have taken that one step further now with challenges. Challenges, that's just reality TV. There's an entire multi-billion dollar industry based on that. Survivor is now like almost 50 years old, 40 years old, something seasons. Amazing Race. Like all of these are just massively done. Now, look, I understand why this is because the barrier to entry is so low. All you need is, you can have your own phone, a camera that shoots these videos that are super high quality, and you don't need anybody else. You don't need a crew. You don't need talent. You are the talent. You are everybody. And you can't do that with, Mission Impossible, any Tom Cruise movie, to any, CIS, any, you know, actual narrative television show, Grey's Anatomy, whatever, I'm talking about the shows that have been on for 20 plus years. It's hard to duplicate that without other people and with a lower barrier to entry. But I think it's so fascinating to really look at how do you do that through the eyes of narrative filmmaking in this modern YouTube era. Because outside of that, like, it was interesting. I was looking at Paddy Galloway, who, if you don't know him, is kind of like a YouTube guru. He's super young, but like he just understands it and consults with every big company from Red Bull to Mr. Beast, like everybody in between, and just grows channels like this and understands it. And so I was deep diving into his Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days, because that's where he's kind of putting out content still. Otherwise, he's too slammed, it seems like, with his agency to really put out videos anymore. And the interesting thing that I, in reading it, he was like, if you spend your time editing videos, shooting videos, you're not a YouTuber. You're a videographer. And as a YouTuber, you need to be spending your time figuring out ideas, figuring out thumbnails, looking at your competitors. And the problem, in my opinion, with that, and it's, look, that is how you be a successful YouTuber. It is 100%. Like, I don't disagree with that at all. But my problem with it is that, like, as an artist, my goal is to make something original and new. And yes, it's supposed to hopefully find an audience, but like, you don't have to think about the marketing inherently when you do it. You don't have to think about the competitor research. And yes, look, there's lots of different arguments for it, but like, first and foremost, the goal is to make great art. Like, that's the simplicity of it. Is like, you need to make great art. Now you got to get it out there. And there are ways to get it out there, especially now with social media. It's never been easier. But it's a very interesting dichotomy we've now turned into with this new realm of filmmaking and reality TV that is YouTube. Because looking at even just this channel for myself, it's like, do I need to do filmmaking challenges? Like, is that what's going to get the audience interested? Do I have to, make rants like this because that's what people care about? I don't have any interest in doing tech reviews and gear breakdowns. Well, let me show you how what this lens or this camera body or like I don't I don't want to educate. I don't want to be a teacher. I want to be the filmmaker. I want to be the artist who does it, not the one who teaches about it. And that's nothing on them. Like the people who educate on YouTube are making more money than the non-educators. It's just that that's how the YouTube economics work. These are people, it's serving people who are interested in buying things because you're learning about it. So you're already primed to buy about it. And because of that, you're going to much more easily, you know, be ready for an ad. And that's what, advertisers want. Entertainers, like a Mr. Beast, like a Ryan Trahan, you know, I mean, they are, there's a lower RPM on it, but like they're doing a bit more of like it's creative, don't get me wrong, but it's not, and maybe it's the boomer in me, maybe it's the millennial in me, and it's not the Gen Z in me, but like I still come from an era where I look up to that Steven Spielberg, the Christopher Nolans, the J.J. Abrams, the Tarantinos, the Michael Bays, the like just the filmmakers that I grew up with, and like that being the art form that I want to create this life. And I find it very fascinating to see where, because it's never been easier for me to make that art form. And that's the hard hitting part about this, is that it's never been easier, but it's never been harder at the same time. Because I can go make a film, but then I'm competing against more people. I can do the festival route, or I can just throw it up on YouTube. Like a year and a half ago, I made 14 short films, 14 narrative films with scripts in 4 months. I took one to festivals, but like I was submitting to festivals that were a year and a half that I'm still waiting to hear back on. Rather than in that year and a half, I could have made another 100 short films, which I probably should have, and I probably need to do, but like it's just a fascinating space. But the things, like if you look at even on the back end of my YouTube, because I'm restarting this channel right now, and it's like the films that did well. Why did they do well? Because it was searching. What did they search? Because I put FX3 in the title. I put the camera body. People are wanting to see it because of the camera body, not because of the narrative content in it. And look, that might be the foot into the doorway. Like that might be the entry point, and then people are like, "Oh, he just makes great films. I need to watch more and more and more." So maybe that is the way to do it, but it's an interesting time to be in right now as a filmmaker of like, what do I do? Do I do this? Do I not do this? I don't know. So my biggest takeaway though is I know I have to keep putting out things and putting out content, because the more content I put out, I will get better at making the films. I will be better at making the content. And by doing it, I will also build an audience, and I will just find the audience. Like I think Danny Jarvis is a great example of somebody who's really tried to find his own as a filmmaker, as a, director DP, where he is really cutting his own lane. Is he massive like Peter McKinnon? No. But is he making more narrative projects, even if they're a little bit more documentary or a little bit, and he's making scripted stuff? Completely. Where Peter is, yes, he's a YouTuber, but he's also a photographer. And so, and in his YouTubing, he's gotten the art of filmmaking. And so it's just a fascinating thing to see in our space now, that where to go and where to take this in the future. So I hope if anybody has ideas, if you have any ideas or thoughts, like let me know because I definitely want to get some thoughts and figure it out. But as of right now, it's like, you know, whatever, F it. Let's just go for it. Put out whatever you want, build that audience. It might take longer by not playing the game, but say la vie.